Hello and welcome to the Car Culture Podcast. I'm not Alex, and while you're thinking about that, if you're on YouTube, subscribe, like. If you're driving and watching it on YouTube, thank you, but we'd really appreciate if you listen to it on Apple Podcast and Spotify. Dan,
Why?
because it's safer.
Well, because you don't see Alex.
Because it's safer.
Today we're already doing better because we've got someone better looking than Alex.
I wouldn't say I'm better looking than Alex.
You can actually see you for the first time in a year. That's how long the podcast has been running. Anyway, who have we got today and why have we got this lovely pair of gentlemen? Ed's got the best shirt I've ever seen on the podcast. So you have to watch this on YouTube. So if you're listening to it on Apple, cut that and watch YouTube because you won't get to see Ed's shirt.
You drive loud cars, you dress with loud clothes.
Yeah.
Hey guys, and you are guys.
So introduce yourselves, Ed and Sami. Tell us more about yourself.
Who's more important?
Definitely me. Definitely me. No, I'm kidding. Hello, I'm Sami. I'm a photographer based in Dubai. Been here a really, really long time. Avid petrol head.
How long's long?
I've been here since 1996.
Fuck, that's long.
So this summer should be rolling on 26 years, yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah, I grew up here, Dubaian through and through. And love for cars, started as a kid, the usual shabam, whatever. Currently drive a Renault Sport 200 Clio, sorry.
You tried to make that sound posh. It's a Clio.
It's a Clio, yeah. It's a fast Clio. It's a fun fast Clio. Also just bought a Renault 4, which I think is starting to become a Renault collection. I don't know. I think I'm going to be that guy who suddenly has like 15 Renaults by the end of his life.
So what's the affection with the brand?
Honestly, the Clio got my interest a long time ago. I remember reading in Evo magazine, Car of the Year, when at the time when it was new, so that would have been like 2010 or something, 2011.
That must have been a bad year for automotive.
Yeah, you think? No. Surprisingly, so I'm reading this Car of the Year issue, right? And they have all these amazing cars. And the way it went is that they have like a big group, and then the group got shortened down to like top 5. And Clio gets to the top 5 amongst like crazy cars like the Noble M600 and a bunch of other like super duper cars like Lambos and Ferraris and whatever. Obviously, places last because it's a Clio. But the fact that it went up there and the guys were super impressed with it, I was like, oh, this is to be remembered. And that kind of stuck in my head. And then I was in the market to buy a car and I didn't want to get a Golf because
they are
they're boring cars.
They're
great,
great,
boring cars.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to get a Focus ST. I was looking at a Focus ST, but at the time they were new. So secondhand cars were pretty expensive, so a bit out of my budget. So I was like, you know what, hey, Clio. And then I looked on the Bizzle, I saw this yellow one, and I was like, there you go, done. Bought it. And so far, man. It's given me a lot of issues, but it's a Renault.
You also run, is it a Renault group? Are you the head of it?
Yeah, I run the Renault group as well. So yeah, so when I bought it, I was like, is there a Renault Sport Club in the UAE? And I looked up, I did a bit of research.
You know my hate for car clubs, they're shit.
Yeah, I think they're pretty important to the community and to the owners of those cars because they kind of like it gives a safe space for you to share the passion and the love. Like I know a lot of guys who are like, I still buy Renault because I want to stay in the club, you know, and because I love you guys and I want to hang out with you guys, you know.
That for me, like, just I guess I've just I don't think just because I have the same car as someone else I should be.
I get you.
But I like UAE being able to mix with everyone like that.
But the way you guys also roll out, I mean, you guys have your own kind of club with the JDM stuff, right? It's also counts as a club, right?
Truth be told, I don't have a Renault.
Anyway, Ed, so before we get deep into stuff, because we'll probably get lost. Ed, who are you? Why do we know you?
I've been here 12, 13 years now. Was supposed to be here for 18 months, and here I am. My dad was big on cars, still big on cars. Never let me drive any one of them. So for me, it was kind of, okay, fine, I'll do my own thing. And my first car here in the UAE was an Alfa Romeo. Terrible choice, great car, but no AC. And then I moved into American cars, and I kind of, my mantra is always affordable fun. And if I find something that has a lot of character or I can have fun with,
technically you should be driving a Renault though, right? Because you're French.
If you buy a...
Well, he has a Citroën, so that counts as well.
I have a Citroën. Back in France, I have 2 Citroëns, actually. Two CVs. Why buy not only one? But, yeah.
They're both blue.
Both blue.
How creative. No, I'm kidding.
And also, I'm known to own the most dangerous and most stupid car in the world, the Morgan three-wheeler, which has all the downsides of a car and all the downsides of a motorcycle and none of the upsides. So yeah.
But I think it's just stupid fun. Like
It is stupid fun. It is stupid fun. So yeah, once you own a car like this, you risk your life every time you drive because it's.
And I think that car is like the literal definition of beautifying the roads. Like whenever people see it passing by, their faces just go like, they lose their mind.
Yeah,
You know,
it's
like,
not a car and it's not
Yeah,
a bike,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
Like,
exactly.
there's nothing else like
and
it.
just seeing it ride, it literally looks like a pod racer. Like you're just seeing it from afar. You're like, what the hell is that thing, man?
It
looks
stands
so
out
cool.
in the scenery here. It
Yeah,
stands
for
out
sure.
among all
And the
the
color
other
he got
cars.
it, that French racing blue is just
Yeah.
so good. So good, honestly. I think Morgan did a really, really good job on that.
Yeah, interesting brand, definitely. So I could speak about them for hours. But yeah. So no, I wouldn't own a French car here because it's something I could get back home easily.
that's
So I would definitely go for something. Fuel used to be cheap. So I own a Raptor as well, terrible fuel economy. I own a Corvette, terrible fuel economy. Now decisions are changing.
Corvette's
but
going
yeah.
though, right? Corvette's going.
Yes, it is going. Sadly, it is going on its 7th birthday with me.
I'd agree because the orange was a bit weird.
Would you drive the Morgan back home in France?
Absolutely.
So
It's probably
your previous cars, you said the Raptor and the Corvette, you wouldn't drive these in France, right? It would be very difficult to
couldn't
live
drive
with.
the Raptor in France.
Well,
No way.
I know
Wouldn't fit
people who
down
want to
roads.
buy it from me.
People throw eggs at you, man.
But-
I think.
Realistically, European country roads are not built for cars like this. Like already, modern cars, two of them facing each other on the country road is really complicated. So Raptor. I mean, I live in the countryside, so I could maybe have use for it, but
Yeah.
very limited. It's not something made for European market. And the Corvette, I would honestly, but it's not the one I would keep because it's not manual. It's color scheme for those that don't know me is bright orange and black and silver, so very yalla. I would rather get another one. Actually, the project is to get a C3, 68 or 69, the chrome bumpers and everything, and then bring it back to Europe. That's the ultimate dream. But yeah,
Let's go back to car clubs because we were on a good thing there.
Sure. Yeah.
Is there a Morgan club?
yes, all 10 of us. Yeah, there is. I kind of restarted it after the passing away of Mohammed last year. There's a bunch of us now, interestingly enough. And now I think there's a new dealer that came through because it used to be with Tomini.
Really?
Now it's Adamas.
Ah, yeah, the guys that do Lotus.
Yes,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah,
There's, ironically, I'm probably the youngest owner here as well in the UAE. There's like 10, 12 of us. So I'm kind of the unofficial club manager or whatever you want to call it because I'm the guy who always says, let's go driving.
You have the energy.
But I love it. Like, I don't want to drive
You
anything
don't have
else.
kids.
Yeah, I don't have kids. True. Well, yeah, I have you. So
None of us have kids. None of us had kids in this room anyway, right? So if we had kids, we probably wouldn't.
I have
be
cats.
Well,
Does that
but
count?
I used to joke that if I get a house, I get like over the parking, the garage. I would get like a 1-bedroom apartment for Sami to grow old with.
Oh, ain't that sweet.
So yeah, Sami and
I am
are-
unofficially adopted by Ed and Anna. Thank you.
Yeah, I take care of
I
everything.
do live in your house.
including his dating life occasionally.
In your other house.
How did you two meet anyway?
Car meet.
Oh, randomly, yeah. At Cafe Rider, they were doing one of those drives that they do with the bikes, right? And then obviously cars joined some of those.
It's just
At the time,
yeah.
he had the Z06, right? The C6 Z06. And I was
You
like,
were
"Oh,
there actually. You
fucking
even
cool."
took pictures when we went all the way to Jebel Chase.
No, it was Fujairah or something
Fujairah?
like that. Yeah, it was Fujairah.
Oh yeah,
for
you're
sure.
right. Fujairah. You're right.
Fujairah, somewhere around Fujairah, because I remember doing the Kalba. It was Kalba, yeah.
Because Luke had his E-Type. I remember on that meet. And you have a picture of
Yeah,
me going
Luke
like
had the
this out
E-Type.
of the
Yeah,
window. Yeah,
yeah,
I
yeah.
remember that very
That
well.
was some time ago, I think.
That was a long
2017.
time ago, yeah.
2017.
And it was pretty much like, hey, dude, I like your car, man. He's like, yeah, cool. We talked about it. And then I was like, could I
Was
ride
that
with
before
you?
Dubai Drives?
Way
Was it
before
Yeah,
Dubai
way
Drives.
before.
When did that start?
Dubai Drives, I think 18.
Something like that.
18.
Something like that.
Yeah, they had a couple of Christmas drives before things shut down.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I joined the group chat before they went on
Before it was-
Instagram. And
It
everything.
kind of existed under the radar as a WhatsApp group for
Yeah.
people
Yeah,
to
for
drive,
people to
but it
drive and
became an
everything.
official thing like later on.
Yeah,
Like,
once they started the whole Instagram.
same
and
thing. That's
everything.
how I met you. Like I always was kind of a loner when it came
I'm
to
sure
driving.
I met you
so-
at Kansan.
Kansan definitely, but I asked you like, where's the scene? And you told me, there's people meeting in the cafe. But before I used to go drive all by myself, first of all, because as you said, car clubs used to drag on because there's 15, 20, 30, 50 cars.
So you're not a fan of car clubs? You are.
Yeah, I am.
Actually-
I think they're super important. Honestly, I think they.
I just hate being put in a box because I
Sure.
drive a Renault. I have to speak to another Renault.
No, you don't. You don't have to. I mean, there's a lot of guys who come and join the club and they realize, oh, it's not for me, and they leave. And there's a lot of guys who just refuse straight up to, because I had an inside man at the dealer, and anybody that would come service their car would be like, hey, dude, we have the club. Do you want to join? And a lot of them were like, yeah, super excited. And it's good to share the passion. It's good to share the knowledge. It's good to, like, again, I think, like, for me, the way I experience it, a lot of times I get pissed at the car. You know, it's a Renault, it's unreliable. It's like, sometimes I'm just like, you know, fuck this car, man. I don't want to sell it, whatever. But then when I go meet up with the guys, they kind of revitalize that love for it, you know, and they just, you're like, oh yeah, it makes sense. You know, I'm not doing all this just for nothing, you know. And a lot of the guys, they love coming together. They love going on these drives. They love doing all this stuff. So to me, it's like, the people are happy, I'm happy, you know. And I think, like I'm saying, it's just super important to have them share, like, I feel like I'm repeating myself, share the passion, share the love, you know, because when I first bought the car, I'm going out driving alone like him, and I was just like, I mean, I'd like to have friends, not necessarily a Renault guys. I would like to have a community, a bunch of friends with different cars to go drive out with. But I think it's much more fun if you're all together with the same kind of brand and state of mind. You can actually really nitpick at the details of how the car drives, you know, because you can't imagine, like, if I go out with a bunch of Ferraris and a Porsches or whatever, and these guys are talking something, I can't relate because I'm driving a Clio, you know, like, whereas if this other guy's telling me, oh, I'm feeling this and that and here and there, you can relate, you can share this information, you can just, like.
Yeah, but I guess bouncing on what, from listening to your different episodes before, the problem that I also have with clubs is that clubs, like any hobbies, you have the OGs, the guys who live and breathe, that are super passionate, that are super friendly, they'll do anything for you. Then you have the posers, then you have the ones that just bought it because their friend told them to do it or something like that. And realistically, as a human, like me as a guy, there's only a very selective percentage of that group that I would like to hang out. But sadly, I got a package deal and I have to hang out with the others. In your club, the Renault Club, you really have a lot.
I'd say. So not being negative to Renaults, but there's probably, like, it's not like a Mustang club, right?
Shots fired.
You know, like, there's a lot of Mustangs are sold. I don't even know if there is.
No, but there's stigmas with every brand.
There's like 2 or 3.
probably
you drive a Corvette, you're like, in the US, you're a retiree with socks all the way to your ankles. Here, you're doing roids and, like, you have an underage girlfriend. It's like, no, I don't want to be that.
That sounds like a great life.
It's every cliche, like, you're right, every brand has, or every model has a cliche, and, like, I don't want to fall
What's the
into that
Renault
box.
cliche and what's the Morgan cliche?
The Renault cliche, I think, the Renault cliche is a young dude, single young dudes, you know, like, few of them are actually married men. And usually the married men, they have their Megane 4, which is the automatic and whatever. A lot of the guys who were younger, they had the Clio 3 and then they got married, had kids, or they'd upgrade to the Megane 4 because it's automatic and things like that. But I think that's the cliche, just people like me, just single young guys.
And the Morgans?
Well, here I can't say because it's a very specific demographic, you know, quite high up in society and in government. But in Europe, when I was in the UK, I would say it's a lot of eccentrics, a lot of guys who want to try something different, that want to throw back to a time or of a bygone era. And you're not really driving a Morgan. If you ever come with me, you were with me in it. You're not driving, you're motoring. Like, it's old school, you know, you're sitting on it rather than in it. A lot of the guys I know are very interesting characters, like Andres, by the way, hello. He's the guy who drove all the way through Europe to meet me when I went to buy mine in the UK last year. He's an engineer for AMG. You'd think that a German engineer would buy only German cars, and no, he has 2 Morgans. Crazy lad. I don't know what he does it.
So driving,
Something about Morgans.
Driving here, your club is very small. Like, the Morgan Club is small. So, do you enjoy going on drives with other cars, other categories of cars, or do you feel out of place with all the others?
In the Morgan, you mean?
Yes.
Out of
I
place.
can't answer that one.
I mean, for me, it starts. You've been in it over 100. It's like you're taking off in a convertible A380. Like, you can't hear anything. It's super loud. It feels like 300 miles per hour. Yes, I like driving with others, but when they start, like, zooming past and going super fast, it's not enjoyable for me. It's not a car you want to drive fast
because
because
you're super low as well.
Yeah,
like,
and the
you're
feelings
so
are
low to
there.
the
It's
ground,
a
so
fun
you're like,
car at any speed. So I don't mind driving with other classics, like Ian with his Alvis is fun to ride in because we look like, you know, the wacky racer couple. But no, I have no problem. It's more like modern cars have modern ways of driving that I don't necessarily enjoy in the Morgan, I say. But I mean,
Will you take
see
it on a
all
Dubai
that.
Drives event? That's probably the biggest question, because that's a mix of different
I
cars.
have taken it on at the track 2, I think.
that was
To
different.
track 1, but I
Track
didn't take
1.
it on the track because it was not registered
Track 1
officially
is when
yet.
you just got it.
Yeah, but no, I haven't taken it on. I think I've taken it with you once on the drive, and it wasn't enjoyable. Like I just like it's a car you really want to take your time in, so it's not something you want to.
We went on a few drives, but not like big groups. Like it's just us. Like we went there once with the other guy, the black Morgan, the guy with the broken leg. Dude, the broken leg. He had a cast, and he's sitting there driving this Morgan, man, all the way to Hatta and all the way back. Like,
yeah, an Iraqi Canadian guy who
Brave man.
who introduced me to the wonderful world of three wheelers, and it's a little bit thanks to him and Mohammed as well that I got into buying one, because he drove his like a madman. I think he drove like 18,000 kilometers on it, which is by Morgan standards is like 500,000 kilometers for a regular car. But yeah, we went together. That was the time we had two Morgans
that was
together.
a nice,
that was
that
really
was a nice
cool.
drive.
We did our first official meet on New Year's night, Eve, yeah, and it rained like crazy. You were there. We had 4 Morgans, which was, by UAE standards is half the club. But no, I don't have any trouble.
Yeah, just seeing those 3 Morgans driving on the road, it's like unreal, man. But honestly, that first time
while
when we
sitting
went
in a
out-
Morgan Plus 4.
yeah, while sitting in a
Oh
Morgan
no,
Plus 4, yeah.
Roadster. So yeah.
No, but seeing those two, the first time we went out with you and the black one going to Hatta, that was like that sight, seeing the sunrise and those 2 Morgans just flying. That's literally a scene out of Star Wars, man. Like,
But what's
pod racers and
fascinating is
whatever.
that even Brits don't know Morgan that much. Like here, everybody asks me, did you build it yourself? I'm like, sure. Do you think I get the RT registration? Or like, did it come as a kit, like, a Caterham? Brits don't know.
Was it easy to register, by the way? Because they were sold here once upon a time. Sold badly.
Ooh,
I can say that. I don't care.
so the official PC answer is it is possible to register it. No, it's not easy. No, they don't know how to do it, and no, they don't know what it is.
There wasn't like a thing on the system that said Morgan 3-wheeler.
No, it's actually registered as a 4-door car on their system right now, but it's moved to something else as a bike last year.
Well, my Clio was a
bike?
1.2
Yeah.
apparently.
So could I drive it? 'Cause I
Between
don't
you and
have
me,
a
I have no idea what, but I don't have a front license plate, but it is a car license plate. I asked, do I need to wear a helmet? I have been met with elbow shrugging because I have a seatbelt.
Do you have a bike license?
No.
But it doesn't make sense to register it as a bike because
So-
you're driving it like a car. It's a steering wheel. It's like pedal. It's like
Everybody thinks I'm the biggest like rebel in the world driving with no front license plate, and I'm like, yeah, like,
So, have we been stopped in it by the police?
yeah, for pictures. No, nobody cares. Like nobody cares. Like in general, they see me. Like in that car, you cannot take any risk. You can't drive like a muppet because it'll kill you. Like aside from having a collision with a delivery guy, I'm a loser in every duel. Like a Raptor, like you'd probably like pancake me in a second.
Yeah.
So you take no liberty with brake distances, safety distance, everything like that. So I'm the guy who indicates. I even use my arm, which is the weird thing, like Gilbert with his Jags. Not because I think it's cool, but because generally the indicators are the size of like a half cheeseburger. So I
First time you've actually said something in French in front of me.
really,
Yeah. Because you were calling Gilbert.
but that's why he likes to be called.
that's how you're supposed to pronounce it anyway.
That's the only time.
Because
I'd
for
ever
me,
say in
Gilbert is
French,
the bird in Bernard and Bianca. It goes to down under.
I think of the
so-
movie What's Eating Gilbert Grape.
Well, there you go.
So you've both been here way too long, probably like me,
Yeah.
and the rest of us in this room.
Yeah.
We're institutionalized at this point.
So when both of you, when do you realise I'm into? Well, you would have known you're into cars because you would have come here with the interest, right? Like,
No.
no.
Actually, that's a very you would not know, but I failed my driving test 5 times in France, and that bankrupted me. So I stopped trying to pass it. Then I moved and worked in different parts of the Levant, so Iraq, Syria, all those different places. And I came to Dubai, and I said, you know what, I'll try a 6th time.
That's a lot easier.
And I got it.
Yeah.
And then afterwards, I was like, okay, I want a cool car. And then one of the guys I knew told me, oh, I have an Alpha, a great car. And I was like, I was naive. I was like, oh, it looks so cool.
An Alpha back
Yeah.
then in
156 GTA manual with the phone dial rims, red
man.
Alpha with the beige interior. It was, I mean,
It's
I
like iconic Alpha.
you want to speak about the car passion. Like I am like the Alpha had only problems that I think Alpha have. Like I had problems where if I would go over the speed bump, it would horn. when the exhaust would fall off, it would sound like a Maserati. I didn't want to put the exhaust back on. It was people would wave at me. I had a guy in an 8C came to me. I hated that car and I loved that car at the same time. But my God, it had so many issues. So, I had to pinch the brake wires so they would work. All this stuff
for one, something that's a bit more.
And I think it's kind of like any sports. You hurt yourself or something major happens to you, and either you say, you know what, I love it despite all these problems, and you go into it, or you quit and you never become a car person. So that for me, I had the virus, and I said, you know what, fuck it, I'm gonna get some cars.
What happened to that car? It just got broken and couldn't get fixed.
Steve Chalmers bought it.
I know Steve, yeah.
He was my colleague back then, and he didn't drive it, and then it got impounded by the police, and he sold it to some guy for parts who sold it for more than what it was worth when I sold it. I bought it for 7,000 dirhams, and I sold it for 7,000 dirhams, which I don't think a GTA today is worth 7,000 dirhams. So yeah,
that's crazy.
As for you, what's your story of getting into cars?
Getting into cars since I was a kid, man. Like my big brother was kind of into cars, and he would get all these magazines and these model cars. And
was that here?
Yeah. This is at that point. This is when we had just moved here from Africa. We used to live in Africa, and he started getting into it, and I kind of just want to copy the big brother because you're the younger brother. You know how it is, and it just kind of stuck since then. And then I realized, hey, I want to take pictures of cars, and it just kind of went from there. But the really when I started getting super duper serious about it, obviously when I got my first proper camera, I would go street spotting or whatever, try to find
Beach Road.
Yeah, Beach Road.
Yeah.
At Starbucks.
Well, I used to live in Deira back in the day, and what we would do, there was this one road by the airport, that really long stretch that has like a Gandhi and a few other, there's Mitsubishi at that intersection. So that really long stretch back in the day, they used to have a lot of these Japanese cars, Supras, Skylines, used to park them there. I think there was like a bunch of dealers or garages or something. So me and my buddy, we used to do this long walk where we'd take a taxi from Fish Roundabout to this place, and we'd walk all the way to Deira city center. And at the time as well, there was the Future Motors that had the Pagani dealer. So we used to stop by, see the Zonda, drool over the Zonda. And then we'd go Toyota and all that, and then end up in the mall and just chill in the mall, And it got really serious when I finally bought the Clio and started being part of the community. But at that point, the culture here had developed 10 times, Before it was, everybody on their own. Maybe, there was a few people who had these small groups.
That's pre-social media.
And
can we appreciate how, I've known you for now 7 years. In 7 years, the community has, expanded, grown, evolved. I don't know what the term is, tremendously. Now,
it's insane.
You see people daily driving classics, or you see people daily driving, cars that you would not have seen on the roads before.
I don't know, that may have existed before, but we just weren't connected to those people, right? I still think that social media has lended a massive part to that, right? I don't know, my memory of cars when I first came here, there was definitely some odd stuff floating around. I don't know if people were daily driving, but there was some odd stuff. It definitely wasn't a culmination of people going, let's go here. But there was, you might remember this as well. Actually, both of you might do, because you came, if you're 14 years, you're the same as me. Was it Golf Petrol Heads? Was a forum? Something like that.
Yeah, it was an internet forum. It's still live. I don't think anyone uses it, but it's still live.
It was active when I first came over, and I'd say Evolve was even more active as a forum as well at that time.
Yeah, I used to head down to a few to Evolve gigs.
So there was a guy living in the same building as me he kind of took over, and he was running Evolve. His name was Steve.
I think to me the first kind of communal events that I used to go to was Motoring Middle East. They used to host,
you're right. Yeah. I've spoken
that blew out.
It
was huge.
The other gentleman.
They did one at
and they had too much turnout, and they had to turn people around, and it was a mess. I remember.
Shazad, yeah.
Shazad. So they used to host. That was the first ever car meet
Festival
I went to.
City was the big one.
Big one at Festival City, and then they did a few in downtown, one or two in downtown, and then after that was pretty much a bit of a lull, and then just social media and whatever's happening today, But Flat 12, Dubai Drives. I think everybody, and I think also it's in general the quality and the type of cars that people are bringing in as their own. All these people like us who would have these classics back home, they would bring them in. That's also kind of changed as well over the years. But back then it was a lot of the standard, Dubai, flashy, Ferrari, expensive, Emirati guys driving them. And I think as more people came in, they'd bring their own love and their own passion with them, and they'd import all this kind of stuff, And And I think a key factor was definitely Fast and Furious movie that like blew up the JDM scene here. You know, that movie came out, suddenly you got like Supras everywhere, Skylines, and back then they were dirt cheap and they weren't really regulated, so people would just slap the biggest thing, turbos, exhaust, whatever on them. And even the Toyota Mark IIs, I remember those things were everywhere in Sharjah, man. Like, funny stuff, man. It's really weird to think about how much a movie can influence people so much.
Yeah. I think movie and bullshit computer games that fucking idiot plays.
Oh, Need for Speed, yeah. Man, Need for Speed Underground 2 is like legendary, man.
Underground, yeah.
Alex's always reasoning for putting a wing on his fucking NSX was what game is it?
Gran Turismo.
I thought he put a wing on it so he could put the cheeseburgers in the food and eat it, use it as a table.
I'm gonna have to challenge you on that one. I think that wing looks amazing.
I'm fucking glad Alex is not sat here because it's shit.
I think because it's so ludicrously huge.
Do you know what? So hilarious. I followed him to Flat 12 Ramadan drives last Saturday, and it's terrible. Like it's not even being funny. It's just terrible. It just doesn't fit with the theme of the car. I think.
Well, at least you have kids running around saying, "Hey, look at that Ferrari!" You know, that's a good thing to say.
Yeah, it needs just a few more.
Could have got a Fiero for that price then.
A few more bits. It needs a lot, but it's really funny. Like Alex is quite proud of it. I don't know why we're talking about him because he's not here. But the same drive we pulled up.
Become a meme of this podcast.
Do you know the best thing about last weekend was some kid kind of came up to him like, "Oh, hi, you're Alex with the NSX," and I was like stood next to Alex. I was like, "Oh God, here we go." And he said, "Oh, you want to sit in the car?" And like the guy's old enough to drive, right? But he's young, so he goes in. I think he was like, "Oh, this idiot's telling me to sit in his car, so I better go and sit in his car, right?" So he goes and sits in his car, like, I don't know what he does, but comes out and Alex is like, "Oh, so what do you drive?" And he's like, "Oh, I have a Porsche." And I'm like, "Oh, Porsches are shit, right?" Like, as a joke, and kind of like walk off. And then Alex goes, "What Porsche do you have?" And he's like, "Oh, I have the 992 GT3 over there somewhere." And it's like some kid who's like 19 or 20, right? Like,
as you do.
And he's in. I think the best bit was having to try and like tell Alex, "Oh, your car's actually quite nice." It's not Alex's shit.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Poor guy.
Enough of Alex anyway, because he's in Italy trying to propose to his girlfriend.
But
Oops.
Circling.
I hope that works
He's
out.
done the deed by now. If he hasn't, we're in trouble.
Yeah, we're not in big trouble.
Cut.
Yeah.
No, but,
Edit.
Yeah, circling back to the classics part. Yes, I think a lot of people now drive their cars. A lot of people had classic cars. They're stored around.
I'm sure we've spoken about this before, though, as well.
Yeah.
Like there's more knowledge in workshops here as well.
Forget the classics. Like you and I, we've arrived at the same time.
Yeah.
All the guys who I knew who were in the UAE before me, the mantra was you come for 2-3 years tops, you make some money, and then you fly home.
Yeah.
But then home was
Dubai
trash.
story.
Like, you know, back home the salaries were dropping, it was economic crash, etc. I came here, I was like, I'm not leaving. Like, this is great. There's room for careers. And then after a set amount of time, I'm like, I'm clearly not going anywhere. So let's double down and start putting money into
Dubai.
something.
I think Dubai also makes it so easy to own a car compared to like Europe and especially Europe. Europe is like super expensive to own a car. Here,
super expensive. All the tree huggers will punch you in the face if you have more than one car.
Listen, like things are changing fast, though, right? Like, you know.
Yeah. But that's the global market, I guess. You know, because the way I kind of see it, the new cars are just not interesting anymore.
Terrible cars, really.
They all feel the same. They all kind of like just no feel, no spirit. And all this engines are getting smaller, less drama.
Software,
in 50 years' time, kids are not going to know what a real car is, right? Like they might have the fastest cars in the world ever, but they ain't. There's no.
They'll have the most economical cars, that's for sure. You know, like fuel economy or whatever. Most
fuel, yes, because you're not putting fuel.
friendly.
But I don't even know if they're environmentally friendly yet, because I don't think the production methods are quite right, are they yet? I still think that's.
I think no, they have to, because obviously
well, we're gonna run out of oil, right?
What's it called? Yeah, we're gonna run out of oil. Also the regulations, man. They're just like every year it's getting tighter and tighter and tighter. So the engines are getting smaller and smaller and more efficient and more efficient. I think like the internal combustion engine is like reached its peak. That's it. You know, you can't really do much more from here. So either you go electric or you buy a used car, which is what's happening. So that's why the prices are just going through the roof, you know?
Yeah, it's definitely used as
they've put so much driving aids on modern cars as well. Like if you are someone that enjoys driving and knows how to drive, modern cars basically do everything for you. Like Tesla will say, stay in your lane, don't drive like an ass, etc.
We kind of need that
Yeah, but that's the thing.
So
They
right.
put more and more safety and technology in modern cars that you're basically, on training wheels the whole time. Like, there's even a club in the US or a lobbying group that says that soon driving is going to be outlawed and only people who are going to be driving are going to be outlaws. Because
kind of like the idea of being driven by choice. Like,
yeah, I mean, on a day-to-day basis, it's great. But if you no longer have the choice to drive for fun, then
they'd be screwed.
go in the metaverse, for God's sakes.
Do you think kids even care about cars anymore, though?
They don't.
Just
Really?
like, what the hell do you care about?
What makes you say that?
TikTok.
No, because
Like,
they don't have that idea. Like, because as Alex said, mentioned in the previous podcast, like they
Let's
are
not
being
talk about
taught that they're bad for the environment from a young age, right? So and for
Yeah,
them,
but
it's
they're
just a
told
mode
they
of
themselves
transport.
are bad for
Whereas
the
we-
environment. So what is
yeah.
the theme of the story? Kill yourselves? Like, wow, all the cool kids are doing it. No,
you're
no,
going to
no.
die from something, right? So
Yeah.
you might as well kill yourself, yeah.
Yeah, but moving forward, I'd love to
pretty grim.
see electric
pretty grim,
cars
I must say.
will catch on.
Sorry, went a bit dark.
Oh no, we're all just gonna like live in a virtual world, right? Where we don't actually do anything. We just lay in a bed hooked up to a computer.
That's why I'm driving a
That's the
Morgan.
Matrix,
I'm going
man.
to kill
Matrix
myself
is
before that
real.
happens.
Yeah, no, I don't know. I don't think do kids get excited about cars?
I think it's a generational thing. Like maybe the
Yeah.
next generation afterwards is going to say, they're going to have a weird retro vibe and say, I want to drive a car. Like the same
I
thing.
think there's still a bit of hope. Not as much as us, because like you're saying, we kind of grew up in that generation where it's like, no, cars are, do it. It's buy. Or now it's like, no, cars are bad, so. But I'm pretty sure a few will slip through the cracks and you have the petrol heads and whatever.
You'll have the kids whose parents are petrol
Our
heads
petrol heads, and they
pass
become eventually,
But that's
But
not
that's a
enough to
smaller
build
community.
Cars on, right? Like for a brand to go, actually,
So-
I'm going to build
No,
it.
of course not. Of course
Brands
not.
will have to shift to making the basic electric cars, the economy cars, whatever. But I'd love to see the regulations move forward to allow laws that older cars and like allowing, for example, what Porsche is doing with the GT line, where they still have a very focused driver's car, right? So
They
while
say
you still
we'll
have
just
the
pass
economy stuff, you'll have like a small
They'll
section.
tax it though, like governments. will,
But
won't they?
I think it really depends on the manufacturers. A lot of these other manufacturers are tending to drop the whole sport division.
Because it just doesn't make money.
It just
right?
doesn't make money. It's
This is
just
why
not effective.
Nissan don't
They'd rather
make
sell a
good cars
crossover
anymore.
And like, to give you an idea, it's already starting in Europe. Like I was talking to Gilbert about this, and he was raving about an
Gilbert.
E-Type in Paris. I said, you're no longer allowed to drive a classic car in Paris. I think
What, in the
minus-
centre?
in Paris in general.
That's
pretty
Unless
crazy.
I think it's either public holidays or one Sunday a month. So basically, that's it. You can drive anywhere else, but that's what it is. You're basically going to be shooed off more and more. And cars as an individual
you couldn't-
ownership
I don't think
thing
you'd wanna be
might go.
driving-
It might be a communal thing, just because of space alone. Not the amount of space we lose because of parking spots is insane.
But who
in a
wants to
city,
drive
so-
an old classic in the traffic of a city?
No, but
You
like
wanna go out
you
and
want to
have
have.
a-
There's
you wanna
got to be
have the
something
choice.
like, have you been to Paris?
No, never been. Hopefully this
It
summer.
smells like piss, basically.
It's a bit of a shithole, but there is
There's some occasional nice
you
spots.
can have a connection with it, right? Like it'd be
Alright.
cool to drive a cool car around.
Yeah, of course. I mean,
There's a connection. It's
it
better
sucks.
than
It
driving down
sucks.
Shakeside Road. Like
It's
know.
very
Okay,
iconic.
okay.
Let's put it this way. Like,
Yeah, fair
there's
enough.
that famous car video, C'était un rendezvous. There's this guy driving through Paris at like 7 a.m. or 6 a.m. and what we don't know if it's a 300 SL or a
Oh yeah,
Ferrari.
kind of like that.
And he's
Stockholm.
just gunning it through
Getaway in
Paris and
Stockholm.
driving like an insane person. And that drive is, for me, one of the iconic moments in car history. If you've never seen it, I think you've seen it because you're nodding. It's something to watch. Like, you would not be allowed to do this today in 21st century because there's so many speed bumps, so many cameras. And at 7 a.m., there's always people on the road. In the 60s or 70s, whenever it was filmed, it was deserted in August. It's beautiful. And for me, reliving that drive, I've done it once in a 2CV, which was particularly painful in Montmartre, but it's amazing. Paris is a very iconic location for driving. Same as central London. Like,
Yeah,
we all imagine empty roads, but yeah, you're right. It's traffic.
but it's still there. There's some places in London. London's a shit place to drive around.
Yeah.
But central
Yeah.
London's especially. But
terrible
there
as
are
well.
some places that you can
Yeah, for
take
sure,
it a
for
lot,
sure.
especially if you're driving the right car as well, right?
Absolutely.
When we talk about the Citroen,
Yeah.
that would kind of like roll us perfectly into the next stage. Like, I don't know how much you want to say about the trip, but it's a little bit different.
Well, we can.
I wouldn't do it for sure.
You wouldn't.
Not in
Not in
not
Citroen.
in a Citroen.
I think we got the correct cars for this trip because those cars were built
Well,
for
Well,
for like
Tell us about
Clip
the trip.
clip that passage, and we'll come back to it in a year.
Tell us about the trip.
I believe in the cars.
So okay, let me give you a bit of the inception because it's fully because of me that he's into this. Late last summer, work was just crazy because I work in the aviation industry and pings were picking up very fast, and I was working all the time. And I was like, is this really what life is all going to be out from now on because of COVID? Are we just going to sit at home and just work and like lose track? And I might have gotten a little bit the Hosni Mubarak, as the seal says. And I got a flashback from when I was studying in London, where it was in 2007. I saw the guys doing a rally called the Mongol Rally, where you're basically driving a hopelessly underpowered and underprepared car all the way to Mongolia. There's only one starting line from London. And it came back to me that night. I was like, I swore back then I would do it, and I never did. And look at me, I'm a 35-year-old poor schmuck who hasn't done anything crazy in years. You know what? I'll do it.
You're not a schmuck.
Yeah, thanks. Very sweet. And I just like registered. It was something like 300 pounds. And I messaged him. I said, dude, I think I did the most like unrealistic, stupid decision ever, but I want to do this. Then I told my wife, who was like, okay, let's do it.
And it's also for adventure.
And I told him, and he got more and more excited. And then he joined. Initially, we were supposed to do it in one car. So this is where the story goes. The rules are: you're not allowed to have an engine bigger than 1 liter. No 4x4s. If you go any 0.1 liter over the limit, they give you stuff to carry. So there was one guy who showed up in a crossover a few years ago, and they gave him a bank safe or like a satellite dish or something like that, and he has to bring it all the way to the end. And there's even some go all the way to having cars under 500 pounds, but I decided not to go down that road because I wanted a classic, because I wanted to do it like our forefathers before us and swearing and sweating. And I said 2CV because I grew up in a 2CV. It's my grandmother's car. I still have it as well. It's a separate car now, but I wanted to do it in a 2CV, and he was also like me in the same idea. A lot of guys in the rally, they do Pandas or Micras because that's the most cars people use, and they have good statistics.
Micro would boss it, like.
Well, I mean, let me give you a few statistics so you can be even more horrified. So yeah, it's 10,000 miles, the shortest way, give or take. And 50% of the cars don't make it.
50%?
Yeah, and out of the 50% of the cars don't make it in Mongolia, meaning all the way nearly at the end. So imagine you go all the way there, and the idea is there's no assistance, no technical support, nothing, no help. You're on your own. So you have basically the idea, the philosophy is it's an ice pick to the face to modern convenience and comfort, and it's a killer of racism because suddenly we're in the middle of nowhere, Kazakhstan or wherever, and you're in trouble. You turn to the guys who are nearby, and you offer yourself. You're very vulnerable, and strangers are willing to help you. And people have tremendous amounts of like amazing stories of how people like the record. Some guy got towed for 3,500 miles by a stranger. It was like weird. There's all sorts of stories like this. And
do you think our cars will be able to tow each other?
No, mine has 29 horsepower.
Are you allowed to tow each other though? Is that in the rules?
Yeah, you can do whatever the hell you want.
As
long as you reach there, like you can even reach there on the back of a pickup. But as long as you reach there,
you have to finish. But it's brutal. Like basically, there's only one starting line, which is either in Goodwood or now it's actually in Czech Republic, and they call it the checkout party, and it's in an abandoned missile silo from the Soviet era. So very Mad Max themed, and then there's a finishing party that starts, I think, on the 1st of September.
How long?
Like 7th or something like that.
Because not all people are going to finish at the same time, right? Like,
no.
So you have like a window.
Is it like a month-long party?
There's different routes. Basically, they call it the en route because there's no there's only a finish line and a starting line. So you can go through the bloody North Pole if you want, or like some guys went through Africa. It's pretty insane. But we're taking the southern route, which is through Turkey, Georgia, Caspian Sea, Turkmenistan, all the stands basically, minus Afghanistan, although we are driving next to the Afghan border for a little bit, crossing the Himalayas, Kazakhstan, Russia if we can, and then Mongolia on the last 2,000 miles. So that's 3 months driving.
And then back.
3 months?
Yeah, and then back, yeah. But that's including coming back, because I want to drive it
Coming back, yeah.
So you're going to drive back?
Yeah.
Inshallah.
So your chances have gone from 50% to 25%.
Yeah.
Yeah, I keep saying
Sammy's like, this is not going to happen, right? Like, there's the realist.
No,
I think we're going to crack before the car.
Yeah, I keep telling him. I think we're gonna break down before.
Like,
we
just go to the party,
I
the
have to
start
take him to a
party, and
fat
that's
camp.
it.
The guy is on, like, he needs to thick up like big time before the rally because we apparently
okay, I'm gonna
you
lose,
lose
like,
12 kilos on average on that
You're
rally.
gonna lose because you have the fat to lose.
Yeah, I'm
I don't have
chunky,
anything,
it's
so I'll
fine,
lose
like-
like water weight. It's okay. I lose it every year.
Yeah, like food is obviously a concern. Traffic is obviously a
Yeah.
concern, but like the mental, I think, is what's going to crush us because
I think so
it's-
too. Yeah, just being in a car and a classic with a shitty seats
For
and
three
for
months.
3 months and just
I wouldn't do it.
doing 100 kilometers an hour.
honest.
No, I know. A
tops.
lot of
I'm
people
like,
say they wouldn't, but a lot of
good
people are
road,
saying
yeah.
do it. Like,
I'd do it in a Raptor because it'd be fine.
yeah, but then good luck getting parts in the middle of Kazakhstan in a Raptor.
Yeah.
Mine's done good mileage. How far's
My 2CV is getting rebuilt at the moment. I'm overlanding it, so it means it's going to be. I've taken lots of bits off so I can, like, a lot of people talk about power to rate ratio. It's really power to rate ratio in the 2CV. Like, it's 500 kilograms right now. I've removed lots of stuff. Yeah, it's the same weight as the Morgan.
That's
funny
crazy.
enough.
That's
Are they
so
made
light.
out of? Is there any part of the car that's wooden?
In the Morgan, yes, not in the 2CV.
Okay.
2CV is made out of defeated German Panzers. So, no, it used to be actually, funny enough, but no, mine's I bought it from an 80-year-old guy who was living in the center of France, and he built it for overlanding and rallies, but he's too old and too sick. So I bought it from him, but it was still unfinished. And right now I'm doing a lot of stuff like new electrics because electrics are confusing. And I'm removing a lot of things to make it lighter because it's only 0.6 liters, so 29 horsepower. Everything matters.
I'm cheating, by the way. Mine's a 1.2.
Yeah, he's going to have to
So
carry
what are
it.
you going to carry? Do you know yet?
No, but
No, they
I
gi-
saw the
yeah.
regulations. They give you that leeway up to 1.2.
Okay.
So
That's
I'm
what he
okay.
thinks.
What are you driving?
No, I read it on the website. Okay, don't
What
give
are
me
you
that.
driving, Sammy?
I'm driving a Renault 4.
I'll rat him out.
1991 Renault 4.
Which would be
And-
equally as shit.
Equally as shit. Equally
Worse.
as whatever.
Have you seen the engine bay of the Renault? Oh, I had a panic attack. I don't know if you,
You know,
can put it
they
in a
have the
video. But
transmission in the front.
Okay.
So there's a rod that goes through the dashboard all the way across the engine, and it goes down so you can shift. It's hilarious. So it's like that. You're kind of pulling in and out. You're not doing it like that.
yeah.
But mine's also been kind of prepped because they have a model specific a trophy called the Renault 4 trophy, and it goes from Paris to Marrakesh. Also, owners, it's like an owners thing. They join, and it's like an
Thank you.
off-roady kind of road trip.
Everybody's
so a lot
going to
of
think you're
cars have been
Dutch.
prepped. Yeah. So a lot of cars have been already prepped for that.
It's bright
So I
orange.
just found one in France and bought it. Bright orange. It's got a snorkel,
Sight unseen.
backseat delete.
True
it's got
story,
like a
guys.
shelf in the back. It's prepped already.
And like, where are you going to sleep on this journey?
Camping, man.
Wherever we can.
Half camping, half in the cities, hotels,
I
whatever.
mean, you have a very, like, remember, the first quarter is Europe, so you can sleep in
Yeah,
motels,
so,
whatever.
yeah.
Then Turkey is fine. Where it starts getting tricky is once
Russia's going to be great.
it's a very small portion. It's like not
in
even a
and
day's
out.
driving. Like, we're only doing like a small nook around it, and then we're back into Mongolia because there's no common border between Kazakhstan and Mongolia. So, but the bigger
But we're
problem
driving
is
back through Russia.
the Himalayas, the Pamir Highway, like where people are skiing or even jet airliners are flying, will be driving. Like, we're nearly up to 5,000 meters high in a 2CV, so I'm probably gonna be like 3 horsepower by
That's
then.
what I'm telling you. We'll get like altitude sickness before the car.
I don't reckon there's any way, like, chance that you're going to make it.
It's been done. It's been done. Funny enough, I found a mate who did it in a 2CV, broke down in Kazakhstan.
There's
and
that dude who's
totally-
building this like 1930 something Fiat.
Yeah,
or
there's a
some
guy
shit
building
that.
like a 9
this
horsepower
trip,
Fiat.
yeah.
I'm like, you're insane.
I
I
think-
love the way everyone's sensible.
Have
and
faith in
choose
us,
the most
Dan.
reliable cars that have ever
Because
been
it's
made, right?
like anybody can do it in a reliable. You can fly for God's sakes to Mongolia. Why would you drive? Like, but it's just you experience the local cultures. You can see the seasons change. You're basically slowing down, which is what I wanted. I worked so hard, and I've never taken a year off or never done like anything like that. So I want to take 3 months off where I can really experience something which is life changing. Until, as you said, the world is interconnected and there's no more
I
blind
can
spots on the map.
introduce you to some life-changing things that won't cost you 3
Oh, for
months
sure.
of your life.
We might get shot for all I know. Like,
Yeah, and they're probably a lot more safer, really.
You definitely end up with a nice party story to tell for the rest of your life. So you're
Yeah.
good, man. You're set.
I mean, less than 10,000 people did it in 20 years, and for the statistics, only one person died so far. Drunk driving in Iran, out of all places. And then, from what I can tell and the experiences I've collected, people get in trouble because it's
It's
Ironically,
shit
the age
cars.
gap is enormous. There's people starting from 18 all the way to in their 80s. So it's really weird.
Yeah.
The young ones tend to do a lot of crazy stuff, especially under the influence. So one guy like decided to fly off a 2-story building and broke like 8 ribs and like lost one of his kidneys. Like, why would you do that?
Thankfully, we're not 18.
So
yet.
we're not doing that.
Acid's a wonderful thing.
Yeah, not for
right?
sure. I'm not going to put myself in a position where I'd say this is too much for me, but it will happen. I have no doubts, but I will not voluntarily do things that will put me, or the car, or my wife, or whoever.
Yeah.
We're 4 people doing it right now.
I mean, I count on keeping this car forever. So, well, as long as
But yeah,
I wanna
you-
bring
I
it
don't
back
think
here.
it's gonna.
But
I
there-
don't know, like
You know, I think really,
I'm good
really
on
the
it.
worst, what's the worst thing that can happen to the car? You total it somehow.
you
accident,
total it yourself
or-
as well. Like, have you
Yeah,
seen
I
the
think
cars?
I'm
you-
saying
we're the
yeah,
crumble
just,
zone.
I'm saying just the car, man. Like, why do
We're
you
the
want to kill us,
crumble
man?
zone,
well, if the car gets towed and you're inside it, you're towed as well.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Whatever.
Not
Just
that
like-
I'm trying to put like make it
No, for
bad.
sure. That's
But
what I'm
if the
saying.
car really breaks down and I can't go any further, I have the options of getting towed
Yeah, ship
or
it
putting
back.
on a truck. Or if
Yeah.
really, really nothing happens, halas, for me, that's the triple end. Send the car, put it on a whatever, send it back to Dubai, and then continue the trip with him or something, and then just restore it or something.
Like top speed on the 2CV is 110 downhill with the wind behind you. So yeah, I'm not going to be doing crazy speeds him as well.
And
so
in any case, we'll be driving on like gravel roads and whatever. So Max will be doing like 50, 60.
remember
you know?
one thing, like you're crossing parts of the world which are still somewhat, I'm not going to say wild, but like less open to global like tourism, etc. So people are not used to see foreigners. And if you show up in like a big black tinted SUV or a Raptor or anything like that, you're not going to give the same sympathies as if you show up in a clearly underpowered old piece of French junk.
Yeah.
Like people are going to
Bright
open their
blue and
door, like
bright
throw their
orange.
doors open to you. Like I've experienced it when I was working in the Levant. People are very friendly. When you show up, like you look like you need help, nobody in his right mind is going to turn you away.
I like that. You look like you need help.
You definitely need you need help. Like I was telling him, dude, we're going to be like in places where like
I think with your over preparing, we should be okay.
How are you gonna?
But he's
document
like
this,
leading
by the way?
everything. I'm just tagging along, by the
yeah,
way.
I'm going to have to fucking tow him the whole way. But
How are you gonna document this?
so there's on my end, because he has now his own vehicle and his own team. Mine is called Team Cannonball, KHANN, well, basically an homage to the Great Khan. So I'm documenting everything on Instagram on that account. But I'm also doing a lot of recordings, audio recordings of me, swearing while fixing it myself because I have to learn how to fix things.
Oh,
We're
you're like
going to have 2
3 steps ahead.
photographers on the trip, so you guys are, better do your job
Yeah,
as well
definitely.
until your cameras
Wanna
get
bring my
robbed.
cameras, yeah. No, they won't get robbed. Why would you say that?
And for the guys, for you guys
This
back
sounds
home,
like a massive shit show.
we're trying.
I'll just get the cheap camera.
I'm, we're
No,
trying.
definitely have my camera.
It'll be a
with me.
life experience, that's for sure, but it needs to
Yeah.
be documented
I'm
well.
trying to
Yeah,
get
for
one of
sure,
those
for sure.
Garmin things where you can hook it on a car and like you can follow us, our progression or lack thereof on satellite, and you can send us messages and say go faster or anything.
Yeah, and
like
Ed's
that.
wife Anna, she's also a photographer, and she does a lot of these really cool videos as well. So I trust her in that
Well,
sense. I'm gonna document it just for me. But
It's not official yet. There's some like if you think we're nuts, one of our mate, he's not here, but he next time maybe we'll bring him along. Flamboyant British national who decided to do it in Vespa.
for the bikes,
Yes, you're correct.
you can't go over 125cc if you want to do it in a bike.
I'm like, dude, you're going to be like 10 centimeters shorter by the end of the trip. And I told him, don't do it. So I told
And
him,
he's
get a
gonna
monkey
keep up
bike.
with you guys.
Yeah.
And he's gonna be convoy with us.
It looks
yeah.
like,
I told him, man, you want to do it on a bike, okay, but do it on a real bike,
But
like
the
an
thing-
adventure bike. You
people
know?
do it in dumb
Don't do it in a
cars.
scooter, man.
I've seen
Okay,
some
cars,
guy-
You're like, cars, you're sitting, it's okay. On the scooter, man, you're like this. You're like
Dumb and Dumber, the
Yeah,
moped.
Has he driven a scooter yet?
No.
Just send him down Shakeside Road on a Vespa and see what he says.
No,
But
but
it's not a matter of Shahzad Road and highways. It's a matter
Yeah.
of the bumpy
No, but
roads.
he's
His
a-
back is just gonna get.
and he's
wrecked.
alone. There's no social,
Alone.
like, you're just like.
Weather
it's
exposed, 8
feasible.
hours a day driving. Under the sun, getting fried. Like, dude,
In the snow, in the rain.
snow and the rain.
But
at least get a real bike.
to give you an idea of how bonkers this is, if you think we're nuts, there's a South African guy who did it in a Reliant Robin and finished on a Reliant Robin. Like,
How long did
I
ironically,
guess
How
it
long
stood
did
up
it
to the
take
name, huh? Reliant
it's
Robin.
like the finish line always it closes around the 10th, 12th of September, so he got there, but before that it closed. But I've seen a guy doing it in a limo.
Well done.
I've seen fire trucks, double-decker buses.
Dude's in
hearse.
the
Double-decker
Ferrari,
must
man,
be
the
super.
355.
Yeah, a
And
guy
the
did in a
944.
Ferrari 355, but then he blew his engine in Georgia. He got way further than I thought he would. A guy in a 944 who had no roof because he had a car accident. So he had a golfing mat on the roof, and that exploded in Turkmenistan. There's all sorts of crazy cars. So
So what
Morris
happens-
Minor, a guy is doing it right now.
What happens when you break down and like the car's broken down completely? You can't
fix it
Oh,
yourself.
you fix it yourself.
You can't
Or
fix
you
it.
ask the locals to bushwork on it.
logos to push.
That's why bushworking on a 2CV or on his spaghetti engine is going to be another part.
Spaghetti.
It's
It's
like,
not
look
that
like
spaghetti.
it looks like
You could probably put a whole new engine in the back of the car anyway. Like,
Yeah.
blocking the head.
But mine is brutally simple. Like there's very few things that can go wrong aside from it's a Solix engine. Like it's
on the to-do
It's
list
just-
to
it's that
learn
size.
some mechanics and stuff.
so a lot of
I'm a-
things
You'll
you
learn
can-
very fast. Trust me.
I'm
Just on the.
embarrassed to say, as much as I'm a big petrol head, I have no fucking idea when it comes to like fixing cars and whatever. I have no
I
clue.
got the owner's manual of the 2CV and it just fell apart when I opened it, so I had to download one from the internet. But it's honestly it's more terrifying than it really looks like. Honestly, compared to modern car where you need an ECM, a computer, or like there's no codes on the 2CV. Like you just
I reckon a Raptor would make it all the way, especially if it's low.
Yeah,
mileage.
you could.
you could. But remember, it's 11,000 miles of like the toughest terrain, and you get shit
I
gas.
think they could. I think that it would make.
Oh
it,
yeah, by the way, we need to mention this in Azerbaijan. No, what is it? One of the stands. There is no petrol,
Oh yeah, you have to.
Oh,
buy
so
the
the Raptor would do fantastically.
so it's only
have to buy
natural
them
gas.
like-
So you have to buy gas off the black market.
and it's like 88 or some shit.
And it's like 80 octane or something like that. So your Raptor is like, poof, gone.
So your cars are diesel or petrol?
Petrol.
petrol.
No diesel.
But I mean, those engines, like you fucking put anything in them.
You can
they'll
put-
go,
yeah.
You know.
Yeah. So the idea is this. So we're like the rules as well is to raise money for charity. So we'll go into this at a later stage. But it's all for a good cause. And the idea is it puts you out of your comfort zone.
Yeah, the entire theme, how
Big
they
time.
kind of sell it, where it's
Like,
like,
you take your
the
comfort
dumbest
zone.
thing you'll ever do. It's the stupidest thing you'll ever do.
And
I've
kind
done a
of
lot of
thing.
stupid
And it's
things
made
in
by
my
a
life.
British
Honestly.
company. So you Brits always do crazy stuff. And they have other adventures like crossing the Pacific on like a rowing boat or like
What the?
crossing Africa on a hot air balloon.
That's suicidal.
Yeah, no, but they also, like,
It's
I
the
don't
Pacific,
understand.
Like you're in the water on a
They
rowing
do
boat.
stuff like this
Come
one's
on,
already
man.
nuts. This one's already
That's nuts.
But-
Like if one storm just flips you over, you're fucked, man. Like no way.
but we're gonna do it costumed. Rick and Morty, maybe, I don't know.
Costumes? No, I've got my spacesuit, man.
Anyway, when is this going ahead?
So starting line is officially, as of now, it's not confirmed because of the whole situation in the east, and as well, COVID is not officially terminated. Although Mr. Putin apparently killed it this year. But the starting line is normally 15th of July in Prague as of now. But it could be Goodwood, it could be Saint-Tropez. I mean, they keep changing all the time. And then the finish line is on the 12th of September.
You got a lot to learn, Sammy, before that.
So
I
Is
do
this-
have a lot of
So
time.
like
man.
this year or it'll be next year?
Next year.
Next year.
We're registered for 2023.
I'm basically going in June to get the car back from the garage where it's been fixed or rebuilt, or for lack of a better word, prepped, as we guys call it. And I'm going to take it for a test run through Europe, or maybe just France. I don't know.
How about you, Sammy?
I was meant to join him, but I'm having
No,
some
no, Sammy,
residency.
you need to explain everyone what you've done and what you're currently doing, because I'm a responsible man. I'm kind of prepared. He's insane. Tell them.
What do you
Please
mean?
tell them.
What?
Where's the car right now?
I told you I wouldn't tell them. No, it's like sitting on the side of the road, man. Like I trusted some friends to
For
help
how
me
long?
out.
For how long?
It's been
For how
like
long?
a month, just sitting in the random parking.
They
in
might
the
not even
random-
be there.
in the
Nobody
city.
knows.
Where?
Nobody knows. In Lyon, in France, in the city in France.
And it's bright
It's
orange.
it's not the UAE.
And it doesn't have any door locks.
Oh,
There's
you
probably a
fucked.
homeless person living in it.
Safe
by
to say, I'm pissed about the whole thing because I obviously entrusted some people to take care of it, and they flaked out last minute. Not last minute, but they're just like, "Oh, I'm too busy. I'm too busy." Every time I message them, I'm like, "Guys, just okay." I don't because I need to do the I need to do the RTA passing, right? The whatever mechanic thing, because there's a few points that they pointed out. So I have to take it to a mechanic. I'm like, in the meantime, just park it somewhere, you know. And I told them, there's so many spaces that you can rent, you know, these garages with like the things, and you lock them, they're like for 90 euros a month. I'm like, just find one and just put it in there. And they're like, oh, we're too busy. So they just put it in the side
We're
of the
basically
road.
yin and yang, over preparation, under preparation.
And you know how hard it is to control a car.
I know,
from,
I
like,
know.
You'll be on the back of a Vespa by the time
Yeah.
it starts.
Yeah, you'll be on the
Look,
back of
whatever.
it.
It's that yesterday night I was just raging last night to myself. I was like, my car's gonna be stolen and there's 20,000 euros down the drain. Blah, blah, blah,
There's a
blah.
good chance it could be stolen.
There's a good chance, man.
It's Europe,
Homeless
right?
people sleeping in it, just fucking whatever, you know, like, oh, man, I'm having like all these ideas, man, and I'm just like,
I honestly think it's going to rust away, but...
and I don't know. I really don't know.
Because it's supposed to afterwards. It's
very
supposed
much
to
a
sleep
big
at my,
question mark, right?
my
Sounds
parents'
like
farm.
the-
So
Yeah, nothing's
Look, it's
ever
there.
nothing's definitely gonna go.
so he's
wrong,
already like
right?
preparing the car for the rally. Like he's already making
Well,
like
my car's like at least.
Well-
from when I bought it, my car was at least like 80% done compared to yours in terms of prepping it. I just have
Well-
to fix a few things and.
But it was just left
Wait,
outside.
my third well,
Still.
But
My-
no, the guy when my friend went to pick it up, he drove it like 600 kilometers from where he bought it from the owner to where he lives. So that's a friend. He told me the car runs amazing. At one point when he stopped over in a random city to sleep, because it took him like 2 days, I think, to do it. He got up the next morning, puts the key in, and breaks the key in the ignition because it's one of those flimsy, tiny, whatever, old keys. So he took it to this mechanic. At that point, I told him just do this stuff, change the oils, check it, do whatever. And they said that the car's in very good health. So I'm not worried about the health and the general preparation
Sammy.
of the car.
So if I was in
say it.
France and
Mine-
I wanted to steal a car that had good health and there was no door locks on it
Shut up.
and there's a bright orange car in front of me.
Can't miss it. I don't even have to tell you what
it
brand
gets
it
better.
is.
It gets better.
It's just go around. You see an orange car, you'd be like, "Oh, that's Sammy's
Hold
car."
on. It gets better. I'm gonna troll here. Mine at least passed the MOT.
Shut up.
Yeah, he's driving without MOT.
Mine did pass the MOT. No, it didn't.
It doesn't. There's lots there's a shopping list of stuff on that page.
On the MOT, they're like, does not have rear seat belts. I'm like, bro, there's no rear seats, man. Like, what are you talking about? Like, what? There's no rear seats. There's just a big shelf, a big wooden shelf that the guy added.
Do you
He's
even
got-
need an MOT to do this? Like,
Every 5 years on a classic
and I don't.
to be registered
And I have to
insure
go
it,
through this trouble because it's in France, and
On
then I
classics.
need to go register it in the UK
Is it on
because I
classic
can't
plates?
register it under my name in France. Like, it makes
is that
no
because
sense.
it's in France?
It's in France
Yeah.
right now. Is it on classic plates
But
yours?
would you just need it
You wanna
because
see
you're
the
not?
plates?
You're only in France for
I'll
a
show them
short
later.
period of time, right? Like,
Yeah. But he's going to move it to the UK afterwards because it's a lot easier for a foreign
Yeah.
national to insure in the UK than in France. But,
Sure, and put it under my name. I can't put it under my name in France.
But mine was fine, but it was functional. It passed the test, but I wanted to upgrade things. So like as you said, it's already kind of challenged to do it in a 2CV. So I didn't want to make it even more of a Russian roulette, or should I say Vietnamese roulette, where like there's 5 chances out of 6 I'm going to break down before I cross the border. So I just did a lot of work. I added USB sticks and chargers for devices.
okay, so there is
I need to
some
do that
sense
stuff.
behind this.
Yeah, there's. I want it like it's hopeless. Like I'm like Ace Ventura at the moment when I'm driving because it's too high. There's like
Sure.
aftermarket seats, so I'm like out of the window, and I had to lower the seats. I'm also putting some
you haven't even
aftermarket.
seen your car, man. I haven't even seen it yet, man.
Yeah.
Like, I'm so pissed.
Already, it
Not
shocked me
pissed, but
already twice.
I bought it in January. I was working, whatever.
Like I took it out of
But-
the owner's barn, and because I overloaded it, because I had one of my mates, lots of luggage, etc. I basically burnt off the fuel hose with the rear tire, and I'm like, I showed up at a petrol station to put the pump in it, and then like my shoes are covered in fuel. I'm like, that doesn't look good, and that's not even 10 kilometers away from like buying it. I'm like, this is going to be a long trip.
I think my concern right now is that
There's a lot.
I'm hoping that the car will at least go to the garage while I'm here before I get to it. So
Yeah.
that I'm able to actually do a bit of a mini road trip when I get there this summer, just to test it out.
Yeah,
do
yeah.
a bit like maybe a 5-day, 6-day road trip, just to be living with the car for 6 days.
Get used to it a bit.
And no,
I don't want to
work out
get
its
there.
charms.
I don't want to get there and have to deal with the MOT shit and have to sit there and just send it to a garage and that's it. I can't drive it for the summer.
it's fairly straightforward though.
So I'm hoping that my friends get their shit together and
Can't
help
you
me
just,
out, man.
You should just pay someone off in France, right? For MOT, that's what we're doing.
Man.
No, I mean it's not that it's not that complicated.
Honestly, and I think the list wasn't that
It's not-
complicated. It's just the guy was probably being picky.
I'm messing
and
with
saying
it.
really
Like, there was
basic
nothing
stuff.
major. There was nothing major.
Again, just like no rear seat belts, bro. There's no rear seats. Like, what are you talking about, man? Okay, because the car is registered as a 4-door, 4-seat.
You speak French?
I speak French, so I can get away.
Ah,
yeah,
then
so I
you're
can
done.
kind of tell
Yeah,
the
yeah.
guy.
Monsieur, s'il vous plaît.
Sacré bleu, fromage.
No, but like the idea was to
It's gonna go far.
It's that we can both know that it's capable of doing it, or that before
It is
we
capable
go.
of doing. I think if I'm not mistaken, my car has already done the Paris to Marrakesh road trip, which is the Renault 4 Trophy, right? So it's already done that. So
I know some
If it's
2CVs
done,
have
it's done,
finished
bro.
it. I know some Renault 4s have already
Yeah.
finished it. So it's not like we're completely in the unknown here.
So
Has anyone from the UAE ever finished it?
I
we're
think
spoiled
some
here.
guys from the UE did it because I saw some article in Golf News in 2016, but there was just
Okay.
one passing reference. But that was it. I
I'm
don't
gonna
know
see
if
if
any
the Expo will
UE
sponsor
national
me.
has done it. I tried to get a UE national, one of my friends, to do it with us, but he's working for the space program, so obviously he's a bit busy at the moment. But the idea for us is, I think the biggest challenge is definitely the mental. Like, I'm just afraid that he's going to flip his shit at some point and say, hey, screw this, and like walk off. You know, I'm like, dude, your car's like there. Like, it's going to be tough.
I will definitely do that a few times.
Like, the record is that some guys didn't even start the rally. They were already fighting before they even left. So,
no, it's okay. I love you too much to fight with you. From
no, not with me, with you. Like, it doesn't have to be with me, man. Like, there's going to be a mental.
I don't think it'll be to the point where it's going to be like a rage mode. You're going to walk off. We're going to walk off. But I think there'll definitely be some challenges. There'll definitely be a few frustrations. It's not easy.
I can't wait to look at this podcast in a year and a half after the rally's over, and he's like, I'm half bald, and he's covered in scars, and we're like, this was the stupidest idea ever.
No, I think it'll be. I don't know. I'm very optimistic about the entire thing. I think it's going to be super fun. I think it's going to be a great adventure.
I think you should call it hard pass.
The way I'm seeing it is going to be two, like, from an automotive journalism point of view, not that I'm a journalist or anything, but it's going to be two French icons tackling this thing. This is the way I'm looking at it in terms of photography, in terms of like storytelling.
There'll be a lot of stories, that's for sure.
Right?
I can't wait to get all the stupid stickers on the car. Honk if anything falls off, or if you see them slow, look it up. Like, I'm hoping we'll get some car culture stickers as well.
Expo sticker in the front, because like practically bought it for me.
No, it's definitely it's something where we'll go more into details about the road once the world has shifted next year. But if you guys are obviously interested, but it's still in full on preparation mode. Like,
let's see if our dear friend in the scooter decides that
he's not making it. Like,
but I told him get a monkey bike and like lug it in the back of his Renault 4. But no,
if he decides he actually wants to do it on the scooter, I have an empty seat, so. Let's see, maybe you can
I'm sure he'll just.
But we're crossing deserts and mountain ranges.
Leaving the bike after like 5 or 6 days. I'm sure.
And you can't swap drivers. I mean, I mean, having a second person behind you, like spooning for 8 hours, 10, 12 hours a day. Wow, that's like next level friendship. But like, no, I'm not doing that. So no, there's definitely more to be done. And right now, I'm being a bit more social than him on the social networks and seeing who's registered for the team, and it's all over the world. Like, people from most parts are joining, even people from like the Far East. And I've seen like Ladas half rusted. I've seen some stuff like some Volvos from the 60s, which the guy's rebuilding. And
both cars, way more of a chance than anything made in France. To be honest,
you think?
Automotive history.
Honestly,
right? Like,
those cars, the 2CV and the Renault 4 were made
built to go in the countryside.
They're made to go on these like countryside roads, man. I think we're good. They're going to be just at home.
My first worry, you're absolutely right, is crashing. Like, you're right, we're the crumple zone, so if we get total.
But I mean, we're going to be in the middle of nowhere.
No, but like,
it's not like
unless I'm smashing into you.
No,
or
but
you're
like when
smashing
you
into
cross,
me,
when you cross a capital city or something, when you're caught into rush hour, that's when I worry. Not when I'm in the middle of the Pamirs and there's like wolves surrounding the car and we're eating our canned beans. Like no, that's I'm not too worried. You can still defend yourself, and yes, there is wolves.
I think you're just overthinking it. We'll be good. We'll be good.
And we're gonna say hello from like the car culture flat 12 and Dubai drive sticker on the Afghanistan road sign. That's gonna be like dope.
Please do.
Definitely. That for me, that's the highlight. The Pamir, I told him the Himalayas crossing it, like where people are skiing, we're driving with our cars. This is going to be like.
I want to see the gates of hell, man.
Gates of hell as well. But we'll go into that later on, like at the next podcast.
Yeah, when you have the route sorted.
But it's I think 26 countries all combined.
Holy shit.
Yeah, maybe you should get a seal to join us.
I didn't even know that.
In his full view.
A seal.
I didn't offer him to do it. I should. I asked Miguel because Miguel did.
I spoke to him about it like last week. I told him the possibility of a passenger seat with me, and he was like,
I think a seal would be great. It would be like,
hilarious.
the Hangover Part 5, We just need a Chinaman and that's it. Or Asian American, sorry. That would be the dream. But yeah, the dream team. So Team Cannonball, and him is right now Team
Right now, at the moment, Sasso Space Program.
Yeah.
I have and it's my space shuttle, the orange space shuttle.
I call it the slow Dutch.
It's not final, but whatever. Honestly,
have you got any pictures of it?
I do. Do you want to see?
We'll give you some pictures.
Andy can bang them up.
Yeah, for sure.
Just so I can go and steal it, like in the summer.
Please don't.
Anyway, I think
with the homeless sleeping in it. Can you do a thumbs up, please?
Exactly.
I think that's a good one to end it on. Anyway, we'll follow up, I guess, next year.
Absolutely.
Once everything's sorted.
Yeah,
then we'll try and follow up afterwards.
We'll try and do a fundraising event at the cafe. That's what the idea that I had.
Two UAE residents lost and kidnapped in the middle of...
Kidnapped on the border of Afghanistan for sticking stickers on a signpost.
When your bad trip is that long that you wake up and you're the Taliban's, you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah, fuck that.
Character building, hey? Yeah.
Hey, cut the journey short across from Afghanistan. Let's go.
Let's just go through
That's
Iran.
the visa I'm waiting to do.
Fucking Afghanistan. Let's just go. Let's do everything.
Yeah, no, the passport's gonna get.
Let's get all the opiates in the world, man. Just drive high the entire time.
Yeah, guns shoved in our faces.
You got a spare seat if that's the case.
Like we're trying to get health insurance for the trip, and every time I explain it to the health insurance, they're like, "What?"
Just don't tell them. Just
So
tell
I'm
them
like,
I
"No,
want
I'm
health
just, I
insurance."
just want to cross 26 countries," and they're like, "Why?"
In a French car.
No, I don't tell them in what. And I actually managed to get an insurance through work to get an extension. I didn't tell them. I didn't use the words rally or race or cars or anything like that. I just said, "Yeah, I'm going to take a sabbatical." And I said, "Okay, easy." I just just don't have to tell them what we're doing.
Well, it's on a podcast now, so you're screwed.
Fuck.
Yeah, it's an American health
Well, I don't have to worry
company,
about it,
so
I
we should
guess.
be fine. But no, that's the general idea, and I think it's the next step in our journey of our and
I
our
was just telling
friendship as
him
well.
it's coming up on 1 year to go, man. So it's
Soon.
like no
Countdown's
time, man.
on.
We have to fix up all the visas. We have to sort the cars.
And like as a closing remark for me, this is kind of like the penultimate thing into my session for cars is that I always associate cars with adventures and stories rather than just showpieces or anything like that. It's always for driving. I bought the Morgan to drive it around the country, etc. And for me, I lived on adventure books when I was a kid, and this is an adventure and a motoring adventure for me. Combining both is insane. I mean, he knows I have another dream of crossing Saudi Arabia in the Morgan as well. That's another adventure coming to. But for me, that was the ultimate thing, is to make it an adventure. And I think that's an adventure
we'll make it
together.
happen, man, for sure. It's happening.
Maybe the third episode of the podcast will be separated because we can't be in the same room anymore. No, jokes aside, I think it's going to be a beautiful experience and next level in our friendship, you know.
For sure.
Feeding you
We'll one-up it.
multivitamins while you're sick and
That might need to be a
Butt fuck
5-hour
somewhere.
podcast if it's afterwards, right?
Yeah.
yeah, you
it'll
should
be
do
good.
like a before and after picture, you know, like me chunk.
We're definitely doing a starting and an ending.
Yeah.
All right, anyway, we'll catch up.
Amazing.
Thank you
Yeah,
guys
thanks for
again for
having
having
us,
us.
guys.
Thank you.